Radios, and this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Speaking of entertained, tonight I have a wedding. So unless you're invited, you cannot come. Now, next week's shows, on Thursday, I'll be at the Cedar Lounge in Morrilton, Arkansas. That's been going, reasonably well. I know Morrilton's kind of a small town, and people, it takes a little while to get the word out. But let me tell you, the crowd has been good. We're at about 50% to maybe 75% capacity, and that's amazing for the first 2 days out. People, I guess there's, and there's some talented people for that matter. It's not just that it's karaoke and that it's a good time and that it's a nice place to go. Cedar Lounge right there on 64 in Morrilton, Arkansas. Just outside of downtown. It is such a nice spot, and the staff is so friendly. And I had one of the ribeye steaks, delicious. But they also have the drinks, they have the food, they have the atmosphere, and they got yours truly Thursday nights from 6 to 10. Right there at the Cedar Lounge in Morrilton, Arkansas. I don't know if you can sense the excitement. I'm excited that this is a show that I'll be doing on Thursdays now. This is cool. This is real cool. And then on Friday night, I'll be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. I did it last night, and I will do it again next Friday night. Man, it's always exciting. Always a good time at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Full bar, kitchen's open, and the pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try to make some money while you're waiting to sing on stage, I encourage you to check out the pool tournament Friday nights at the Rab. So yeah. I got your weekend filled for you. At least Thursday and Friday for sure. Those are my two public shows. Saturdays have been filled with weddings. I am stoked about that. I think I am at the Choctaw VFW sometime around the end of the year, the last Saturday of the year, and the first Saturday of the year. I'll be at the Choctaw VFW. So yeah, look forward to that too. So that's in Choctaw, Arkansas. That's another nice place to go for some video dance party karaoke jamming. Oh yeah. All right. And also, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Saturday, October 10th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number one. Number one, second presidential debate canceled after Trump objects to virtual format. The Commission on Presidential Debates on Friday announced that the 2020 presidential debate that was scheduled to take place on October 15th in Miami has been canceled. Organizers on Thursday said that this debate between President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden would proceed virtually, quote, in order to protect the health and safety of all involved, end quote. But Trump, who announced he had tested positive for COVID-19 days after the first 2020 debate, objected to the idea of not holding the event in person and said he would not attend the virtual debate. Quote, it is now apparent there will be no debate on October 15th, and the CPD will turn its attention to preparations for the final presidential debate scheduled for October 22nd. End quote, organizers said. This is according to the Commission on Presidential Debate and CNN. Number two, U.S. hits 2-month coronavirus case high. Several states report record hospitalizations. The United States reported more than 58,000 coronavirus infections Friday, a 2-month high. Reuters reports The Reuters analysis also found that 10 states, including several in the Midwest, reported the record one-day in case increases. Wisconsin and Illinois, for example, both reported more than 3,000 new infections for the second consecutive day. Overall, 19 states have seen record 24-hour jumps in the month of October, which is just more than a week old. Per Reuters, 7 states, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Montana, North Dakota, Oklahoma, and Wisconsin, also reported highs for hospitalizations Friday. And there are now more than 34,000 patients hospitalized with COVID-19 nationally, up 18% in the last 2 weeks. Deaths continue to trend downward, although the average is still around 700 per day, and fatalities are generally considered a lagging factor, usually rising weeks after cases climb. This is according to Reuters. Number 3, Trump gives first televised interview since COVID-19 diagnosis. President Trump gave his first televised interview Friday night since his COVID-19 diagnosis and subsequent hospitalization and discharge, telling Fox News medical contributor Dr. Mark Siegel at one point that he had been, quote, medication-free, end quote, for 8 hours. Later in the interview, however, Siegel asked Trump what medications he was on, to which the president replied, quote, pretty much nothing, end quote. Trump said he, quote, didn't feel very vital, end quote, or, quote, like the president of the U.S. should feel, end quote, before he was flown to Walter Reed Hospital last week, but said he, quote, didn't have a problem with breathing, end quote. He praised the hospital's medical staff who treated him as well as the medications he received for helping him recover quickly. The president also said he's been retested for the virus, and while he doesn't know results, he said he was, quote, either at the bottom of the scale or free, end quote. This is according to Fox News and the New York Times. Number 4, White House pitches $1.8 trillion relief bill, but negotiations remain stagnant. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, who has represented the White House in negotiations with Congress in seeking a new coronavirus stimulus bill, presented a $1.8 trillion offer on Friday, just days after President Trump declared talks should be on hold until after the November election. After making the pitch to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, however, Pelosi's spokesperson said the bill lacked, quote, a strategic plan, end quote, to control the COVID-19 pandemic. After Trump spiked negotiations earlier in the week, he reversed and said Friday he, quote, would like to see a bigger stimulus package than either Democrats or Republicans are offering, end quote. Democrats have been seeking a $2.2 trillion bill. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican Kentucky, told reporters a deal on another coronavirus stimulus bill is still, quote, unlikely in the next 3 weeks, end quote, as some Senate Republicans are reportedly wary of passing any additional aid package. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 5, Armenia, Azerbaijan accuse each other of violating ceasefire. Armenia and Azerbaijan have agreed to a temporary ceasefire, which went into effect Saturday after nearly 2 weeks of violent conflict in the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region, so the two sides could exchange prisoners and recover bodies. Both countries quickly accused the other of breaking it. The agreement was reached after 10 hours of negotiations in Moscow. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Yerevan and Baku would now begin, quote, substantive talks, end quote. But Armenian Foreign Minister Zorab Manstanyanyan said Armenia wants Nagorno-Karabakh officially recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but mostly governed by ethnic Armenians, to be an independent state. while Azeri Foreign Minister Jayoun Bayramov said not enough pressure was placed on Armenia during the discussions, adding that Azerbaijan expects to take control of more territory and the ceasefire will only last as long as it takes for the Red Cross to arrange for bodies to be exchanged. This is according to the BBC and Al Jazeera. Number 6, Trump to host hundreds of people at White House on Saturday. President Trump is reportedly scheduled to host hundreds of guests on the South Lawn of the White House for a, quote, law and order, end quote, event on Saturday, just 1 week after he was hospitalized with COVID-19, possibly picking up the virus at another large event. Trump will reportedly stay far away from the crowds and deliver, quote, remarks to peaceful protesters for law and order, end quote, from the balcony over the South Lawn. Trump revealed his COVID-19 diagnosis last week, several days after leading Amy Coney Barrett's Supreme Court nomination in the Rose Garden, where few wore masks. Several attendees later tested positive as well, leading White House medical staff to reportedly conclude that was the source of the outbreak. Trump will also reportedly hold his first post-coronavirus rally Monday night. This is according to the New York Times and ABC News. Number 7, federal judge blocks Texas governor's ballot drop-off location limit. U.S. District Judge Robert Pittman ruled late Friday night that Texas counties can have multiple drop-off locations for absentee ballots this election cycle. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Republican, had previously issued an order limiting drop-off locations to 1 per county, a decision that he said was made to increase election security. Democrats had accused Abbott of trying to suppress the vote, and while Pittman's ruling didn't make it that specific claim, it did say Abbott's order placed an extra burden on older and disabled Texan voters in the state's larger counties who, quote, must travel further distances to more crowded ballot return centers where they would be at an increased risk of being infected by the coronavirus, end quote. Texas may appeal the ruling. This is NPR reports. This is according to NPR and the Texas Tribune. Number 8, report Trump windfall preceded last-minute 2016 campaign cash boost. The New York Times obtained a slew of President Trump's hidden tax records, including his returns from 2016, the year he won the presidency. They reveal a series of, quote, highly unusual one-off payments, end quote, totaling $21 million from Trump's Las Vegas hotel, which he may have funneled to his cash-strapped campaign, the Times reports. As he ran short on campaign money, Trump sold off, quote, $38.5 million in stocks, end quote, and reportedly, quote, engineered a sudden financial windfall, end quote, in the form of payments from the Las Vegas hotel. The $21 million in payments flowed from Trump-controlled companies to Trump, written off as business expenses. If not used for business, claiming a deduction would be illegal, as would be if any of his $10 million campaign contributions in October came from the payments. This is according to the New York Times. Number 9, Delta downgraded to tropical storm, remains threat over Gulf Coast states. Hurricane Delta made landfall in Louisiana on Friday night as a Category 2 storm, though it has since been downgraded to a tropical storm. More than 700,000 power outages were reported across Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi on Saturday morning, and the Gulf Coast remains at risk of storm surge, heavy rainfall, flooding, and severe winds, which previously topped out at 100 miles per hour as the system heads north, the National Weather Service said. Delta hit the same region as Hurricane Laura just weeks earlier. Many residents are still struggling to recover from that event, with thousands of people still living in emergency lodging. Delta is the 4th named storm to hit Louisiana this year. This is according to CNN and CBS News. Number 10, Yankees legend Whitey Ford dies at 91. Hall of Fame pitcher Whitey Ford, who led the New York Yankees to 6 World Series titles and 11 American League pennants in his 16-year career, died at age 91. The Yankees announced on Friday. A cause of death was not given. A 10-time All-Star and the winner of the 1961 Cy Young Award, Ford won more games as a Yankee than any other pitcher, compiling a career record of 236 to 106 and a .690 winning percentage, the best of any pitcher with at least 300 career decisions. Ford was also an 8-time Game 1 starter in the World Series and holds World Series records for wins, 10, starts, 22, strikeouts, 94, and innings pitched, 146. Ford is the latest baseball legend to pass away in 2020, following the deaths of Al Kaline, Tom Seaver, Lou Brock, and Bob Gibson. This is according to the New York Yankees. That's 10 things you need to know today for Saturday, October 10th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for following me and my stumbling as I go through the news. This has been What Makes You Smarter. I'm Keys Dan, trying to fill my head with knowledge and keep up on current events. And if you like the sound of my voice, come along the journey with me. But please, please, I implore you, don't make me the only source of news for you. Make sure you look up all the little footnotes that I give at the end of every news item. 10 things you need to know today. That's pretty much what I've been using this feed for, the What Makes You Smarter feed. I know I like to dig into some more different topics and steer away from current events only, but man, I'm having fun doing other things. So, yeah, I think the 15, 20 minutes that I take out doing the What Makes You Smarter is about what I have for right now. But if you have any topics you want me to stumble through, you want me to look up and read to you while you're doing whatever you do, whatever chores you have, whatever things you're doing, working out is like the thing when you're listening to the podcast or driving your car, or even while you're working, if you're typing some stuff. Well, I guess if I was talking in your ear while you were trying to type something else, that might be a little distracting. But certainly if you have a job to where you can listen to whatever while you do the tasks you have to do, then hey, put me in your feed. Why don't you? Put me in your feed. Now, I do have 2 other podcasts. One that I use quite often called the What Makes You Famous podcast. That's the one where I do interviews. I try to get those maybe 2 or 3 a week, and that's been the average lately. So 2 or 3 a week interviews with various types of people, a lot of musicians, authors, writers, creative people for the most part. But, I'll talk to anyone, really. Everyone's got a story. So check out that podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And I've been doing some gaming. In my downtime, I'm getting back into playing video games. And while I have the broadcast software sitting here in front of me, might as well stream it online. See if anybody wants to watch me play video games or give me some pointers. Let me know what game I should be playing and how wrong I'm playing that game. I've been playing a lot of Fortnite lately, so that's kind of fun. All right, that's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com. Oh, wait, the Keys Dan Gaming is hashtag Keys Dan Gaming. All right, now that's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.